Hello, and welcome to my video presentation for Art 101. My name is Matthew Heseltine, and today we'll be exploring and analyzing the artwork by Pierre Ugarte, titled Metaphysical Territories. Pierre is a French painter who was born in the city of Bordeaux. He graduated from his city's local school of fine arts and became a lifelong artist. Most of his work consists of landscape paintings, something he has spent his entire life pursuing. He had his first art expedition in 1984 and continued to do so for decades. He's been making money from his paintings ever since he was 11 years old. So what is a metaphysical territory? The word metaphysical largely refers to the branch of philosophy that is related to the nature of reality. It consists of ideas surrounding the fundamentals of our universe, like time, space, and how we as humans perceive it. The territory part of metaphysical territories may refer to the places depicted in Pierre's art, but may also represent the general headspace of the philosophy. The artwork that falls under these titles are all landscape paintings. However, as we will see, there is something more to them than just representations of nature. There are just about 500 of these territory paintings, and unfortunately, they are pretty hard to find. Much of them were created and sold before the existence of the internet, and presumably sit in private collections and have never been photographed. So what are some of the common traits that are shared between these paintings? Well, first of all, there are never any humans present. This is not particularly unusual for a landscape painting, but it is when you realize all 500 of them are missing any people. All of these paintings also incorporate incredibly large structures. They usually sit front and center, but are in the background as well. These structures are almost always rigid and are all the same gray concrete color, suggesting they are in fact not made of natural stone. Additionally, all of these paintings take place outside and are usually surrounded by forest as well as rivers and streams. There's often a lot of snow in these paintings as well. If I had to take a guess, I would say it's to cover up what would be an overwhelming amount of gray, and to highlight the shapes of these ruins. The inspiration for Pierre's work is very direct and quite unique. It is also a product of the deadliest series of events in human history. In the year 1940, during the Second World War, Nazi Germany took over the entire country of France, along with the majority of Europe. Due to France's geographical location between the Allied nation of Great Britain to the north and an active African front line to the south, the Germans took on a massive project to fortify the entire French coastline as well as most of the Atlantic coast. This mega project was known as the Atlantic Wall and consisted of hundreds of thousands of concrete fortifications across hundreds of miles of land. In 1944, D-Day occurred, and a massive Allied naval invasion was conducted in France Normandy, beginning the end of the war and eventually freeing Europe from Nazi occupation. Most of these concrete bunkers and gun turrets still exist today. Removal would be expensive and time-consuming, meaning most have been left to rot and have been reclaimed by nature. They sit unused, without plaques to give them names or any signs of human interaction. They exist exclusively with the nature around them. These ugly and dilapidated structures, products of a now deceased ideology, would have quite literally surrounded Pierre throughout his childhood, serving as terrific artistic inspiration. With their historical origins in mind, these art pieces all radiate certain and specific feelings to the viewer, such as myself. Firstly, a common trait between all landscapes is a strong sense of peace. Many of these paintings, this one included, incorporate flowing bodies of water along with serene landscapes. The structures are eroded and covered in vegetation, meaning they haven't been used or maintained in a long time. This suggests an absence of humans, which would create a soundscape consisting of only wind, birds, and rushing water. Another strong emotion I feel is invoked by this art is a sense of purity. The structures are in fact unnatural, but they slowly become less and less so due to water and wind erosion. Because of this, they also host large amounts of flora and therefore fauna as well. Given its inspiration, the initial purpose of these ruins may have been for warfare, but now it's taking up a new and noble cause, acting as the bedrock of a flourishing environment. Likely the most prominent of these emotions evoked by this art, and what initially attracted me to it, is the sense of mystery. The ruins are impossibly large. Throughout history, nations have created dams and other large structures that look similar to what's depicted in the art. However, real structures exist as very specific shapes in order to keep from collapsing. The stone structures in the paintings are often extremely tall and rigid, and incorporate many overhangs that would be incredibly heavy. Such ginormous creations make the viewer wonder, who are its creators? How were they so powerful? And why are they gone? The thought of something capable of such great feats being lost to time is an uncomfortable idea, and mirrors the many once mighty, long-dead regimes that have existed throughout history. Many of them must have seemed invincible during their times, but as nature demands, all things must eventually end. One explanation for these mysterious creations relates to one of the strangest aspects of our human experience, dreams. Jean-Pierre, exposed to these out-of-place and unnatural bunkers as a child, and over time, watching them be consumed by nature, surely played a part in the imagery of what would become his vivid childhood dreams. We all dream of spaces that don't really exist in reality, or are conjunctions of multiple places. This shared and unexplainable phenomenon is what I think is represented by all of these paintings, speaking to every person who's ever dreamt before. Out of all the metaphysical territories I could find, this one is my favorite. It contains a large structure at the top of the painting, creating a comfortable interior, blanketed by a heavy shadow. The ruins in the background, across from the snowy lake, are split by a large waterfall. The similarly sized blocks at the side of the waterfall, and the large towers behind them, create the image of a giant fortress, nestled in a peaceful valley. Most territories often have an aerial perspective. However, this one seems to be from a human. It is also wider than most others, which are usually quite narrow. The foliage also reminds me of the types of environments I was around as a kid, and therefore often dream of. The most popular territory is most likely this one. It is typically the first image to come up when his name is searched on the internet. This territory is much greener than most, adding to its beauty. The larger than usual structures, with their impossible overhangs, demonstrate the main idea of these paintings most effectively. This one also features some birds emerging from a mysterious cave and a very subtle rainbow in front of the waterfall. Many of Jean-Pierre's works are dark and melancholy looking, but this one is the complete opposite, most likely adding to its popularity. I believe that Jean-Pierre Ugarte has succeeded at creating what is traditionally seen as a boring type of art form and turning it into something much more interesting. The idea of exploring dreams as an art form is something that always creates unique and intriguing results that are often vaguely relatable. I also believe that metaphysical territories is an excellent example of how strongly the environment you grow up in attaches to you physically and mentally. Thank you for watching.